week's edition of the Paint Box. We're actually here with Marilyn and Pat. I'm going to get them to introduce themselves, but we're here with the Brush and Palette Club. So we'll start with you, Marilyn.
My name is Marilyn Kidd, and once I retired, I decided that I wanted to take up painting. Mm-hmm. So I've been painting for quite a number of years since retirement, and I do mainly watercolor, but I really enjoy it because of all the options that it allows for luminosity of the painting, and I specifically like doing water or botanical prints and things like that.
Awesome. And you, with the Brushing Palette Club, you are just connected to them? Or one of the
right now, for about the last 12 years, I've been the publicity convener. So I do all publicity for the show.
Got it. Okay, which is one of the reasons we're talking to you.
That's right, because I noticed her name.
Perfect. And Pat.
I'm Pat Edgerton. I'm a retired teacher.
And actually, retired teacher. She was telling me she taught my nephews. John Jonas.
Yeah, that's right. I've painted more since I retired. Yeah. I like acrylic, watercolor, and caustic, just about anything. I like going out in the community and painting, and I also like abstracts. So
okay.
Lots of different choices.
So you're artists, obviously, in terms of those things, which is great. So can someone explain to me what exactly is the Brush and Palette Club?
You do that.
Okay, the Brush and Palette Club was started in 1972, and it was after a group of people had taken art classes with an art teacher. Her name is Dorothy Heaven, mm-hmm. and they enjoyed the classes so much they decided they wanted to form a group, and that was in 1972, and we've been going ever since. And we have an annual show every year. And something more about the club, its mandate is to promote art in the community as well. So we have a donation every year when we can afford it to promote art among youth and young people in the community. As far as our members are concerned, we have monthly meetings, except in the summer. And during the meetings, we often have a speaker or someone who is involved in art in some way. So that helps us to broaden our knowledge of art and art techniques. Mm-hmm. And then we also have a series of workshops for the members. So you sign up for a 1-day or 2-day workshop with someone who is very accomplished in some area of art, and that's a way of helping us develop our art. So we're trying to work on several fronts to improve our own art and also to promote art in the community.
And you, Pat, have been involved with the Brush and Palette Club for how long?
About 8 years, I think, now. And then we were broken up a little bit because of COVID.
Yeah.
Then we kind of worked hard to get it back after COVID. It was 2 years of stopping as of like everybody else. So we're now going into our third year. So we have the workshops, as Marilyn said. I'm on the committee that finds new art or finds artists to come in, and it's a great way to expand what you know in art.
So does the Brush and Palette Club go out and paint together, or it's more a group of members that come together to...
We don't really go out and paint, but both Marilyn and I belong to another club, the gallery painting group, so we do go out. Our club is more, we have the monthly meetings, and we have the workshops. We have 7 or 8 workshops a year, so we don't really... group.
No, we
paint on your own.
Pretty much. Yes, there are some opportunities for getting together. Mm-hmm. In a church, sometimes there's space, and at certain times of the day, and some people meet, some people don't. One question I'm often asked is, what are the advantages to having a group and belonging to a group? Yeah. And I think that. Painting can be a very lonely, kind of isolating activity if you're just painting at home in your own studio or your own kitchen or wherever you're painting. But if you're painting or you're connected to a group, then you have a lot of support when you're kind of feeling that you're not painting as well as you'd like to, or people are very, very positive and very encouraging. You also get a lot of tips, very useful tips from other painters as to what you could do. Yeah. inspire you to try new techniques to get out of your comfort zone. And I just think there are a lot of advantages to belonging to a group.
Yeah.
The other thing is we've instigated something now where we've asked our members to bring a painting to a meeting. So we line them up, and they have a chance to win a draw. A gift card for Bijan, but it gives you a chance to share your painting besides just at the show.
Yeah. So we're here right now at the annual show. So we'll go up and we'll take some footage and we'll talk about it a little bit more. But one of the questions I have in this context is I started my repainting journey in many ways 8 years ago. I had, like many of us, done art in high school, and then life happens, and obviously you get busy with kids, and then you either retire, and for me it was kid care was over, elder care was over, and I then, what did I want to do? I wanted to use that time. It was also processing grief and some other things. During that time, I actually did try to become part of a number of groups, yours included. So this is great in terms of membership, but here's the big but, because I think the membership is really important, but because it's so volunteer, you're not looking for members right now. You have a waiting list, do you not?
We do.
And how long
we have 110 members in the group. It's a large group. And I think there are about 55 people on the waiting list.
Yeah.
Which is better than it was. It used to be over 100. So.
Yes,
no,
but you're right. And part of the problem is some people, myself included, and probably Pat, ended up waiting at least 5 years before we got in the group. Well, a lot can happen in 5 years. And so I think one thing I'd like us to do next year is to just kind of reassess what we can do and how we can get some more new people into the group so that you're being revitalized on
We did that to a certain extent this year. Tony Poole is our membership coordinator. She and some volunteers that worked with her went right through the list because there's well over 100 people on the list. So they contacted everybody on the list to see if they were still interested. Yeah. One of the things that allows you to be in our group is that one of the things you have to do is be able to attend the meetings. Yeah. So if you've put your name on the list because you've gone to the show, but you're still working, our meetings are Wednesday afternoons. So that is a problem. Yeah, so for sure. Most people do take about 5 to, as Marilyn said, 5 to 8 years. I think I waited 8 years before I
and I understand, I totally understand with the groups, there's almost only so much limited capacity, but it really is, where do we go as adults to find other artists?
Well, I think that for many years there were only the gallery painting group and the brush and palette right in London, and the Lambeth group were the main ones. But recently there's the London Community Artists. That's a group and I think that's what. Yes, it's an excellent group, and that's what people are doing. If they can't get into one group, they start their own. That's sort of how this group just started. It was a group of artists who decided, we'll just start our own club. And just looking around London and the area, up as far as Grand Bend and as far south as Port Stanley, I'm amazed at the number of art clubs that now exist that weren't there a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Port Stanley, St. Thomas. I'm sure there's lots more.
Yeah, there are Ingersoll, Strathroy.
I think that's amazing. It's great because particularly there is, within the sports sector, there are places where you can learn. There's places where you can gather together and you just play. And so where do we as adults go in terms of artists? So the more of those kind of the more of these kind of clubs that work out, the better. But it is. Art has more and more become important to more and more of us as time has gone on, right? And as work finishes, and we can then put our names on the list. I guess that's knowing that if it's going to take 5 to 6 years and you really like to become put your name on the list.
Yes, if you're even remotely interested, put your name on the list. And by the time you're ready, we'll be ready to help accept you.
And the limiting factor oftentimes is the space and your capacity to stay involved with
the space and part of our group has 7 or 8 workshops a year, and we can only accommodate 20, 25 people in a workshop. So if you're joining the group because you want to have the workshops, if you get more, well, we've got 110 members. If you get many more than that, you haven't got a chance to get in. So that's part of it. The size of the meeting place.
Yeah,
There's
there are
lots
lots of things to consider,
factors.
but
Yeah.
I think it's a good sign that other people are starting up
Yeah,
new
100%.
groups,
Absolutely.
and various groups want to have a certain focus too. So
There's a quilters group, there's a collage group, there's lots of different
right,
things.
yeah.
So if you can't get in and would really like to start your own group, that 100% great.
Yeah.
In some senses, then it really is about connecting all of those groups together. Because I know the gallery painter group, the brush and palette group, you meet some of the same artists in each of those groups,
definitely.
but also what's important is the art community, not the
That's
groups.
And the London Community Art,
Artists, yeah.
they recently, I think it was last fall, they had a meeting and they invited the presidents of all of the groups.
Okay.
And it was good because I met the president of, Strathroy, St. Thomas, Port Stanley, the 3 groups in London.
Oh, wonderful.
So we had
Okay.
a chance to chat. And the other thing is, if we do have a workshop and there's 1 or 2 spaces available, we send the information to the other groups. And we've had people from those groups participate in our workshops when somebody, when our members couldn't go. So,
That's amazing. So I did forget to ask you, Pat, are you the president?
Yes.
Oh, okay. This is amazing. So I know that that's really difficult, obviously saying no, but just obviously what's important for artists is to continue to practice, try, and there are ways to connect.
And
right?
creating opportunities in the community. Yeah.
is incredibly important. So let's talk about your members, and let's talk about a little bit about some of the learning experiences you've done. So you've obviously got workshops, which is great. You have artists that do watercolor. You have artists that do.
we have watercolor, we have acrylic, we have oils, we have encaustic, we have sculptors,
Pastels.
pastels. What am I leaving out? Oh, Patty Fisher. What?
Batik.
Batik. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So we've got just about. Well, we'll go upstairs and have a look, but there's just about. There's abstracts, there's landscapes, there's still life, there's portraits.
Yeah.
Just
I
about
think,
anything.
I think the thing that really describes the group is variety and diversity, and we don't try, it just happens. We don't tell people what to do or how to do it or what subjects or what styles, but there's a wide variety of different styles and subjects and approaches, so that's sort of characterizes who we are.
Yeah. And so the show today, so by the time this airs, the show will be over, which is unfortunate, but we will take photos and we'll put some of those photos on as we're actually talking.
And it is an annual show, so people miss it this year. They'll have an opportunity next year.
And this
in
is a
April.
new venue this year too, so we're hoping to be able to continue.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, so what's interesting about the venue is that we're at Riverside United Church, and you're actually all in the sanctuary.
Well, so they've taken out the pews and they use chairs during the service, but it's a lovely space, and we're very lucky. One of our members, Amelia Husnick's son, designed our stands, so we have all new stands. Well, new last year. Plus, he also this year designed the lighting fixtures, and it's just made a huge difference.
It's amazing.
Okay.
It's amazing.
Okay.
Well, and I think too, a lot of most of our shows have been in church spaces. So I remember once driving past Riverside, and it said much more than a church, and I think that's what churches are doing. They're opening their doors to the community and trying to encourage people to come.
Yeah.
It's
a beautiful space, and the only reason we're not filming up there is because the echo that's around. But it is a beautiful space, and we'll do a bit of the walk around. Are the paintings online, so for people to see?
Yes,
So,
we have a website, which is www.brushandpaletleclub.com, and we listed a number of the paintings that are in the show. But we also artists who want to can have their own individual gallery and post their paintings there. We also are on Facebook and Instagram.
Okay, so we'll make sure at the end of the show all of those are listed. So if you obviously you can't make it down, but you can go online and see some of the pieces that are here.
Absolutely,
So,
and you can contact the artist if you're interested in the pieces.
yeah, very much. So the purpose of the show is to showcase the work, and obviously things are for sale.
Yes.
That's money goes towards the artist, obviously.
And also to the group.
Yeah,
And to the group.
percentage goes to the group because the group is what paid for the stands,
Yeah.
although we had several that were donated as memorials to people that passed away that had been in the club.
Yeah. Okay.
And it provides money for us to rent the spaces for our meetings. The
Yeah.
workshops are pretty much paid for by the people that go to the workshops and
Yeah.
they're feeding it in. So
we have to pay for ourselves. It's a not-for-profit group. We
Yeah. No.
have to make a. We don't have resources of money to draw from.
No.
So we just have to
Yeah, so, no,
make sure
that's-
everything pays for itself.
That becomes an important component, and actually most of the gallery systems, that's how things work.
Exactly.
Whenever there's kind of any sort of sales, and even a direct sale from an artist, a lot of that goes back into making sure there's paint and
absolutely.
all in terms of that kind of
Absolutely,
context. So, but what's great about this, obviously, is they're local artists. They're practiced. They are people like you and I who are professional in the concept that we spend our time doing it, but we're not professional in the sense that we've
It's not
we've
our-
living from it, that's for sure.
no, that we love art, and
Yeah.
we're part of it, and we love the process of art,
Absolutely.
and it is really important to again draw together and kind of keep encouraging each other.
It's a nice activity to do because you have your quiet space and you can just relax and
Awesome.
create.
So, with regards to the show or the Brush and Ballot Club, is there any other questions I should ask that I'm not?
No, I think, as I said, there's a large variety. I think anybody could find something that would please them. If they want to buy, all the better. If not, but that's fine. Just come down and bring your friends and have a look. There is a tea room that's offered free of charge to the people who are visiting the group, because we want them to come, stay, socialize, and also, take their time looking at everything.
There's actually two rooms. The sanctuary is one room, and
the tea room.
All-purpose room is more paintings plus the tea room.
Right. And so next year when you come, that's the hope is to do the same thing
Absolutely.
again.
Yeah.
So this will be airing after the show is finished. If somebody sees something that they like, they're welcome to contact the artist directly.
Yes, go onto the website,
And
Brush and
that's-
Palette website,
And go from there.
and then go to the artist's name. It's a good idea to make sure you got the name of the artist and the name of the work
Okay.
if you're interested in it,
Okay.
and then contact the artist directly.
Okay.
Or if the artist has not put their, I don't believe I, for one, have put down my contact information on the website, but if you just contact the group, there's a contact box there on the website, then they will refer it to me
Okay.
or to whoever you want to
Okay.
contact.
Anything else I'm missing right now?
That's good.
Okay. Then I have a couple more questions for you as actual artists. In terms of, the purpose of the paint box is to go and explore the community and explore the artistic community and showcase some of it, but some of it's going into artist studios, and sometimes it's just, talking to artists. So we'll start with you, Pat, because you're closer. Okay. And you don't know this is coming. So,
Hope I have the right answers.
what is art?
What is art? Oh, it's exploring and just playing around and creating and doing something that makes you feel good.
And what is the purpose of your art?
To do something that makes me feel good.
Yeah.
It's I like trying new things and I like creating. I always have, and I started. There was an article in the Villager that they interviewed me for the club, and one of the things that they asked me was, "Where did you start?" And I said, "Well, I started when I was a primary teacher, and I made bulletin boards, and I really liked doing it. Whenever we had the grade 1 teacher beside me, we did plays, and she did the music, and I did the art, and just got together, and I just always liked doing it, so I just kept going." So.
That's great. Now, Marilyn, you've had a bit more time to think through your head. What are you going to say? So, for you, what is art?
For me, I guess it's a way of expressing myself, and also of creating something that I find really pleasing to look at. And I think I enjoy visual beauty around me, and especially in nature. So I like to be able to somehow express that. And I'd like to say I find it fun, but I find it a challenge, I must say. And there's sometimes you're beating yourself up and you're saying, oh, this is not the way I can see it in my mind's eye. I thought this was going to come out differently. And then there are other times when you surprise yourself and you say, wow, I didn't know I could do that. And you're really, really pleased with the result. But so it's also a sense of achievement, accomplishing something, creating something that you find pleasing to look at, and that it just surprises you. You've kind of made something out of nothing. You've got a blank page in front of you. I just do watercolor. And, you've turned that blank page into something beautiful that you like looking at, and it's just it's slightly miraculous in a way that you can do.
It also gives you a chance to share that with someone else.
So what you've talked a little bit about the challenges, but what's one thing in particular that really frustrates you?
Oh dear, just narrow it down to one.
As Marilyn said, you visualize what you want. What you visualize doesn't always end up on the paper. So you look at it and you think, what have I done wrong? Or, there's something wrong with this piece. I'm not sure what.
Well, and that's where being in a group is really helpful, because people will give you a critique of what you've done, and they're kind about
Absolutely.
it. And it's very helpful because you can see it through somebody else's eyes, and sometimes they can just zero in immediately on what the little problem is.
I paint with a group every Tuesday. When we're not out painting the community, and it's a great group because
we have another group.
Well, the gallery painting group is the other group, but this is sort of an offshoot of that. So when we're not going out in the community in the winter, we meet at First St. Andrew's Church and paint. So there's maybe 20, 25 of us, but it always ends with a critique, and that's to me is the best part. First of all, you're painting weekly where you might not be, and you're getting suggestions on how you can improve.
Which is incredibly important.
Absolutely.
I know that I don't have trouble starting sometimes when I'm playing. I have trouble knowing when to stop.
We all do.
Not overworking a piece, and that process gets really frustrating. So, and it's partly because I just want to keep at it, and the ability to step back and learn how to self-critique is also
absolutely necessary.
Take your time.
I was going to say too that I tend to do very detailed things. So I spend time moving one little particle of pigment here and there and thinking it's making a difference, but it's not. But anyway, the revelation for me was taking a workshop in poured ink, and there's nothing you can do to control poured ink. It just goes where it wants to go. And it was liberating, and also that was fun. I really enjoyed it, and I did produce things that surprised me and that apparently people found interesting enough to buy. So I just thought, don't. It's always good to try something new. Anyway.
So, Pat, you did talk a little bit about your frustrations, which was great, but how do you, as an artist, you attend the workshops, how do you not learn to, or how do you learn to paint for yourself and not, so a workshop oftentimes is, you learn how someone else paints. And how do you balance that?
For me, when I'm in the workshop, I'm doing what they're instructing and what they're suggesting. And when I go back to my studio and start doing it, I take out of that what I can use, but I don't do it all. Like I don't copy what they do because I don't always like the results. But it's good to see painting from another perspective, but then you take out about what you like. So,
what do you? We'll keep going back and forth a little bit. So, what does success mean to you as an artist?
It certainly doesn't mean material success, because at that standard, I don't think I'd be very successful. But I'm not in it to earn money. I think if I do something, create a painting that I really like myself. I guess it depends a lot on my own opinion, I guess, and I feel that I've done something that I think worked the way I hoped it would, and I'm really happy with the result. That's success for me.
Great. And one final question. You grew up being a teacher. Or I shouldn't say you grew up, you were.
You was a teacher for 30 years.
What lessons or what would be your advice to someone who wants to start and learn a little bit about so they had art, or they didn't have art when they were young, they're a little older, they want to kind of jump into it. What would be some of your advice to give them?
Look for courses you can take. I've taken courses at Southampton, Halliburton School for the Arts.
Okay.
Local art galleries have courses as well, and lots of different ones. Even small studios have something.
Yeah.
We have
and I think the PUC,
PUC, that's
has
right.
lots of courses in drawing and art and
Yeah.
all sorts of things.
So start looking at taking even small, like PUC courses, and then when you find something that interests you, then start looking for more courses on the same things, or more courses that expand what you learn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I also think that you shouldn't go out and buy a whole lot of materials before you really start getting into it. I think that you can start very small. You just need a pencil and some paper, and just start drawing things around you and fiddling around and doing it fairly regularly. And if you want to, it is a muscle control part of it. It's muscle control, so you need to develop the muscles to be able to make the pen or the pencil or whatever it is do what you want it to do. So it's just a question of practicing, but start small. You don't need to have money to do it. It's one of the things that can be done on a very small scale if that's what you want. And then I did take a course in drawing actually. And that was very satisfying too, because you can produce some really interesting beautiful works with a pencil and a piece of paper.
Yeah.
I did a PUC course on drawing, and it was when I was still teaching. I remember going out on the weekend in my car, finding a tree to sketch, just stuff like that.
Yeah, you're super. When you take those courses and you do some of those exercises you're not thinking about, but you start to see with an artist's eye around you just how beautiful things are.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, even here in the room in the church, there's just lots of things that are potential points of interest. So
Yeah, it's true. It's like training your eye to notice things. I mean, the minute you have to draw a tree, you suddenly think,
what am I going to do?
I've seen trees all my life. Why is it so difficult to draw a tree?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. It is a bit of a humbling experience, but it's still a wonderful experience if you keep at it. So thank you both for spending some time with me.
Well, thank you very much.
No worries
It's
at all.
been fascinating to talk to you, and I had no idea you were an artist all these years. But
I still struggle with calling myself an artist. I am a painter, and I'm working on being an artist.
That's a good
I think we can all say that.
Yeah, so,
For sure.
but thank you very much. This is wonderful.
Thank you.
We'll go and we'll have a peek at some of the artwork that's upstairs. So, thanks very much for watching. We'll see you next week.